County legislator, and this is one of my first live meetings since my heart surgery. So if my head suddenly falls on the table, you'll know why. But actually, I'm feeling.
Don't say that, Bill.
I'm feeling-
Bill, you look good. You said you look good. You look good. Come on.
I'm
That was too much.
feeling way better.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
Well, welcome to the first live.
The last time we had a stage meeting and I zoomed in,
Yeah.
it was like, I wouldn't have been able to do this. I wouldn't be able to come here and sound cogent and blah, blah, blah.
What?
Maybe I could sound cogent, I didn't have the energy to get here and get home.
It's energy, yeah.
Yeah, now's not the time to go into it, but it's quite a journey. Oh, many gates you go through, and I'm still working my way through some of the gates.
Welcome back.
Glad to see you.
So all
And
of
Bill
you
is also the
have good
chairman
diet.
of the Committee on Conservation, Sustainable and Green Energy Initiatives, which is what brings you here, Sue.
I'm Sue Rizzo, Albany County Controller.
Sarah?
I'm Sarah Paulson, I'm the executive assistant.
Antoinette Hedge, I used to be executive assistant, now economic development coordinator.
Dave Riley, I'm the County Budget Commissioner.
Mike Walker, Deputy County Executive.
Kevin Catalano, Senior Vice President here at the Alliance.
I'm Tom Owens, I'm the counsel to the Alliance.
Thank you. Kevin O'Connor, CEO of the Alliance and Director of Economic Development for the county. So we've only had, thank you for all coming, we've only got one item, but unfortunately we had to get it done before the end of the year. I hate to put another meeting on the calendar this time of the year, but there was no way around it. The first item on the agenda is the acceptance of the minutes of our meeting of September 26, 2024. I assume you've all had a chance to look at this, and if there are no questions, I'd entertain a motion to accept the minutes. Sue, thank you. Do I hear a second?
I'll do a
Dave?
second.
Okay, all those in favor? Any opposed? Okay, carried unanimously. Thank you, folks. Let me turn this over to Kevin Catalano, but we've got a company here which is, the kind of ideal, success story. Two students from RPI started this. This is the ultimate green initiative, sustainable technology, and they are expanding, Kevin will talk about, but don't have to be in Albany County. They have operations in the Netherlands and in Chicago. They want to stay here because this is where their roots are, but, and I think this project goes a long way to doing it. And with that, I'll turn it over to Kevin to walk you through the project. And one thing in advance, if you have any questions on their financial information, I'd like to go into executive session to discuss that, and Tom, our attorney, will guide us through that so that we're compliant with the open meetings law.
Thank you, Kevin. Good morning. Good afternoon, everybody. So the name of the company is Ecovative down on Green Island, currently occupying about 180,000 square feet. If you've looked out in the paper, you've seen that they created a secondary company, My Forest Foods, and a product called My Bacon. It is a mycelium-based, they grow it in big, like, rolls, and then they cut it, and then they slice it again to make the bacon. It's mushrooms and basically like 4 other things: salt, organic cane sugar, and some flavorings. So, but all very organic, very clean, very healthy. They're currently in a growth phase with the My Bacon especially. They're in almost 1,000 retailers now. They're trying to ramp up to meet demand. So they currently have 114 employees. If we look back just 2 years, they had 25. So that's what the My Bacon has done, is brought them to 114, and they're estimating over the next 3 to 5 years, 116,000 additional full-time and 86 part-time. Now, a majority are going to be, a majority are going to be semi-skilled. You're going to have some, management level. When you start talking about this type of stuff, you're looking at, food production supervisors, making sure you have cleanliness. Think of a big giant commercial kitchen. You're going to need that same type of supervision. So there's going to be some higher paying jobs, and they certainly have, engineers and stuff like that on staff. So they're in the middle of a $6,812,730,000 project to build out another phase of the My Kitchen. And they've come to us asking for some assistance. We're at a 10-to-1, which is part of the, two things that qualify them is the amount of investment. We do 10-to-1. So if they're gonna invest $6,812,000, we can do $681,000. So that fits, and then they're right in that job number of between 50 and 250, which allows them to access this type of grant. If we look at the, if we go to page 8, you can see the scoring criteria that I went through, consistent with the Albany County strategy. Absolutely, manufacturing is number one. That's what we're looking for. This also brings in agricultural-based, some agriculture-based thought process and jobs, job creation and retention, scored that a 4. A lot of jobs, over 300 could be at this site in the next 3 to 5 years. Level of investment, I graded that a 3. Compared to the other projects we've done, $6,812,000 is a great number, not the highest, not the lowest, we'll see. So scored that a 3, and then the product viability. The one thing Ecovative has been able to do is raise money. In addition to the My Baking, they're working on some, let's call it textiles for, and I think it was actually in the paper not too long ago, they're working on a plant-based leather product. Not ready for market yet, but we're moving in that direction. And they are getting calls, especially from the European designers and manufacturers. Their clients are screaming for a non-animal-based leather alternative, and this seems to be hitting all the marks as they do all their market research. So,
What are the markets for the leather? Is this
think
Apparel.
of
Apparel.
yeah, think of like a Louis Vuitton bag.
I mean, this stuff is
high-end leather.
amazing.
Yeah.
I would challenge you, if I put a piece of this mushroom leather in front of you versus cow leather, you couldn't tell the difference.
It's actually very interesting.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Yep.
We
So-
thought,
Sue's ready to take the challenge.
All right.
you
Before-
get
Yes,
stuck in
thank you.
too, if you get stuck in an elevator and you got nothing to eat, you take off your.
Yeah. I know.
Just don't let your clothes get wet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but that's all the stuff they're working for. But it's actually a very interesting company. You know, they've got engineer upon engineer. They're building out an amazing commercial kitchen complex out there. And again, they're at, 180,000 square feet. And a lot of that growth has happened over the last 2 years with this My Baking. So, Kevin and I have met with them a bunch of times. I talk with them twice a week now. It should be noted, we've approved them also for Altech loan fund loan. So we're hoping to fund that by year end. But just a really interesting company, and it's great to see. And as Kevin mentioned, they do have they do their seeds and spawn, which is all the what the seeds grow in. That's out of the Netherlands. They bought a company a few years ago. They have plants here in Chicago. They have plants here. There's another plant up in Canada, I think, in Toronto. So we want to keep these guys here. This is a company we need to keep. They're doing great. Since inception, back in the mid-2000s, they've raised $170 million, and they are continuing to raise funds. And it's one of those companies that you drive by and you see it, but then you walk through and actually see what they're doing. You look at their workforce, which is incredibly diverse.
You taste the product.
I did taste the product.
It's actually not that bad.
It's Clayton, who now works with the Alliance. He joined us recently. We went down for the grand opening of the My Kitchen, and they served some food. It's crunchy, just like a good bacon should be, and has all the taste profiles that you look for, but they're always looking to improve. They're always looking to improve. It took a while. They actually tried different mushrooms and the mycelium of those mushrooms, and as they found that different mushrooms had different tastes and different taste profiles and different textures. So they ended up going, I believe, please don't hold me to this, but I think it's an oyster mushroom that they use for the bacon. So,
Have you had a conversation with them about mouthfeel?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So I was part of a ribbon cutting for an expansion, Kevin, I think you were there with me. And like, every aspect of the food product is analyzed. Color, texture, how much moisture retains, what kind of oil that you should use, the whole thing. It's,
The smoky
yeah,
taste.
the smoke,
Really-
everything. I mean, listen, I'm like Anthony Bourdain, I'm a lover of all things pork, and it I'm not sure it replaces it for me, but I would not be mad if I went to a breakfast and that's what they have.
no, and what's actually interesting is, in speaking with them, is this company is starting to become that home for burnt out restaurateurs. People that have been in the service industry their entire lives, in restaurants and kitchens, they can now find a home here because it's steady hours, Monday through Friday. You can get back to having a life, have children, you have a spouse, you can do things. Restaurant business is very long and very tough. They've actually been very successful hiring people out of the service industry into manufacturing.
Oh, okay, so you mean like management and the kitchen related stuff?
All levels, all levels.
I have a question. It says it's a not-for-profit. So then you bring up, it
No, it should
says the
not.
applicant is for a not-for-profit business. Eligibility, it says yes on the first page.
No, it's-
Oh, that would be an error then.
Okay.
It's the applicant is a for-profit business.
Oh, I'm sorry, for-profit, all right. Because I'm thinking, God, they're making all this money. How is this not-for-profit? I'm sorry.
No,
I never
that's a-
see for-profit. You're right. It's okay. Because I was wondering how that works. And is this similar, because this is the Netherlands, or similar to another company that we entertained when we were here, that they were from the Netherlands?
Oh, you're thinking Atlas Copco?
Yeah, so they're from the
Completely
Netherlands,
separate.
right, but they're from the Netherlands also.
I think they were German.
You're German?
I think they may
They're
be
coming to Albany. So, but anyway, out of the country,
Invasion.
evasion. But all right, I was just wondering.
Well, here, the US, they're a US local
Yeah.
company, and then they opened an operation.
Well, I think they
Okay.
bought a company over.
Yeah, they bought-
It's one of their suppliers, yeah.
The Netherlands has
substrate.
got a history of
Agricultural.
agriculture, from tulips to,
Carrots.
various food products, and
Okay.
they really lead the world in particularly indoor agriculture.
Now, similar to last time, I think, did they ask for the money, or we, like you said, that 10%, it works within the, or do you give it to them to keep people, knowing that we wanted to have you here at Albany and?
It's a
But they requested the.
A combination of both.
680,
Yeah, they are starting, since they're in such an aggressive raise, what they see is if they can get local support, state support, county support, it goes a long way.
Right, they'll come and do more. Yes.
Right.
Okay, that's all.
So it's a combination of things.
All right. Well,
Can I say a couple?
Please, yeah.
For me, this is kind of an unusual situation because one of the ways Ecovative got started was from NYSERDA money.
Hmm.
And I was at NYSERDA.
Yeah, it's fun.
I was on the technical review panel that reviewed their initial proposal to get started. So it was like two RPI guys
Yeah.
had the dream. And, that's one of the things NYSERDA helps with.
Not to interrupt you, but was that about this product or was it about their packing material?
That must have been the
It was
packaging.
more the packaging.
Okay, I was just
Yeah,
curious.
it was packing and, at the time, they weren't talking about leather. So it was primarily a replacement for plastic.
Yep.
Packaging of all kinds.
Styrofoam.
Whether it's the peanuts or the form, that, one of the things about their product is you can make it right to the form you want. Now, they did talk, and I asked earlier briefly, about interiors of cars, where again, that form ability to make something with a rigid shape, the auto industry at the time was expressing interest, because it would be, think about indoor, in fact, this is why I asked the question, think about indoor leather, or, inside the cabin leather. So anyway, so I'm very excited about this. I'm familiar with their history. I did want to ask about the energy-related opportunity here, and it's even more so with Belinsky, but I guess we're not going to talk about Belinsky.
No, that, Field got side rail because of the site. It's a long story.
Okay, all right. Well, anyway, my question is this. What are their needs for heating and cooling? And could an industrial type heat pump work as opposed to a boiler? Their proposal didn't really talk too much they didn't have a lot of detail. Belinsky actually had more.
Yeah.
But I'm just kind of wondering, is there an opportunity here to also use an industrial boiler instead of, heat pump,
Instead of,
which would help decarbonize?
I don't know.
That is a great question, and I can ask that question. I don't have an answer for you. Again, you don't want to put your head into the company too much, but for everything they're doing, I think being energy efficient, being good stewards of the environment, all goes with, Evan lives off the grid, one of the owners. He lives off the grid. So I would imagine they're using some of the most energy efficient types of equipment.
If I remember when we did a tour, their concerns, it was easier for them to do things like decarbonization, lowering of emissions. Their bigger challenge was water efficiency.
Yeah.
Because of the production of the fungus. They needed more efficiency and they were working on it in the growing chamber. I remember them talking about that.
So is everything single, like runs through water?
No, so it's just a matter of like making sure that the watering is a very oddly moist environment. Like when you walk in, you have to, it's really high humidity. And so, there's misters everywhere. And so because they're using so much water and moisture, it was a matter about being efficient with that process. It was a very unique looking setup.
Well, I have not had a tour, so, and what I'm about to say may or may not be relevant. If you're controlling humidity, how do you control humidity? HVAC, heat pump, so there may be an angle there. But also, if water consumption is an issue, one of the other things I did some work with, and it was often with food companies, was membranes.
Yeah.
To purify water, reuse it.
Recycle, yeah.
Sometimes you could reuse it the same way, sometimes it would be a secondary use, kind of like gray water in the home. But,
Yeah, we can make that referral.
I was just gonna say, Bill, at any point to all the committee members, if you ever want a tour, if you ever want to see where we're investing the money, we can make the arrangement, and I'm happy to set up a time to talk with Lacey about what you're suggesting.
Mhm.
They are very open to hearing what others have to say from the outside.
yeah. Well, I think this is the one compared, they both had a little bit of this, but wasn't it the Ecovative that had the higher numbers for the unskilled workers?
Yeah.
That's what I don't remember. That's good.
And there is, as we do with every project there is an economic analysis, an economic impact analysis in the back of your package here, that we contract out to an independent third party. And, you can read through that, it's, total jobs created, direct, indirect, reduced is over 661 jobs. And, generates, we estimate that this project will generate about $465,000 a year in additional sales tax revenue for the county. So, we make sure that everybody who's deciding on these projects knows what the impact of this project is. And we would not bring a project to you if we didn't think that it was justified by the.
That actually reminds me of one more question I had. One of you mentioned the agricultural connection. The food industry was one of the reasons, at NYSERDA, we like to target food companies because the multiplier effect was higher there than just about anything else, because you're, creating the ag work as well as the processing. Did they come up with a multiplier number or an estimate for the mushrooms? It sounds, one of the intriguing things about this was, very briefly, they talked about subcontractors who will be growing the mushrooms. So that, I assume means
Yeah,
not in their facility, but
that's correct.
They are
the contract egg producers and whatever.
That impact is not included. This is just a direct impact of the investment going into Green Island. So there's additional impact there, if I understand what you're saying, with, as they, have these other mushroom growers grow their product and feed materials to them. But
Yeah, no,
this is
that's,
just the direct.
that could be a whole nother thing.
Right.
I mean, it wouldn't be just Albany County, but it could be the capital district.
They're actively seeking mushroom farmers to join their program.
Yeah.
So if you're familiar with them, they would love to hear.
No,
about
and
it.
it is, I was talking to, I think it was Lacey, might have been one of the other guys, but I never realized that we've got quite a legacy in this region here of mushroom growers. There was a big one down in Queens, Italian sounding name. There's another big one up in Glens Falls area, and, they've all closed down. But, now here we have one that's a very untraditional type of mushroom grower, and like Kevin says, it really is something to see. I mean, it's quite unusual, a operation. I guess I don't know how else to put it.
It was the P&M Brick that used to be a mushroom farmer, Minotonic or something.
Yeah,
That used to be the mushroom farmer. And actually, the TCI is who, TCI bought that land from the mushroom guy.
Oh,
Who
did
owned
they?
that property down there, yeah. Does anybody else have any more questions? And if not, I can have Tom go over the resolution that you as the committee would look.
Is there any need to go into executive session to discuss any of the financial details any further?
Look like we're doing the 10% match.
Right.
So, hearing that, thank you, Kevin. There's a resolution in the package. And the only one, it's towards the end of the package, I think it's on page 40, which it starts subsequent to the economic impact study. And this is very similar to the resolutions you've seen for previous projects. It lays out the committee, the Stage Act Committee, how it was formed pursuant to Albany County law in June of 2022, and how it established this committee and the membership on it, how it designated, that is the law, designated the Advance Albany County Alliance, LBC, as the administrator of this program on behalf of the committee. And it lays out the process where the board of the Advance Albany County Alliance actually reviews these, similar to what you're doing here, similar process, scores them, processes the application, and then reviews it at their board level for an approval. They don't approve whether it's granted or not, but they're the first gatekeeper as to whether it comes to this committee. This committee has the final decision as to whether to award the funds. So that's the overview of the process. This resolution does two things, as it's done with the other resolutions. One is an environmental determination. This is the first one where it's what's called a type 2 action, which is the most minor, the one that by law is held to not have a significant effect on the environment, and that's because this is within the building footprint. The other projects we've looked at actually involve site plan approvals and other government approvals that required the municipality involved to grant an approval process. This is purely something that can be done pursuant to a building permit, which is non-discretionary. So this is a type 2 action. You'll confirm that. The staff has gone through and prepared an environmental assessment form that's included in your package. So that's part of the record here. And then secondly, beyond the secret determination, you will make the award determination, should you choose to do so, for the grant being awarded. And that is laid out in here as well. The amount is $681,000, 273.
Where's the secret?
It's in the package.
It's in the
Is this the short form?
Yeah,
Yes, just
the
before
short form.
the economic impact statement.
Just before, it's on page 20, I think it's 22 it starts.
22 to 26.
Yeah.
So I have a question about the secret. it says the proposed action would connect to an existing wastewater. Does that have any implications for the municipal system in terms of overload or anything like
It will
that?
be considered during the building permit process. They'll certainly review that. I don't know that as I sit here.
They are in touch with Maggie, Alex from Village of Green Island, and they work very closely, and they are very supportive of the project as well.
Maggie has replaced Sean Ward as the county legislator.
Yes.
She also works for the village.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, she still works for the village, but yeah.
But she's been elected as a county legislator?
Appointed
Appointed.
to finish the term, yeah.
Oh, great, great.
So in here too, it indicates Luke Rogers, because this is December, but he's
Yeah.
leaving as well, right?
Yeah, we'll reflect, we'll make those changes, and Gary.
Yeah, the resolution you see before you is a form resolution. There's 5 members on the committee. We never know when this resolution is drafted, who's showing and not showing.
Right.
So this will be modified, similar to the one you were here with before. I think we only had 3 members that day. So 2 have been lined out for the past, that was in November or September, I forget
September.
what month we met. Yeah, and that has to edit this post-meeting to reflect both
He's a traitor.
who's actually here, because actually every time there
Thanks,
could be different
Is he really?
designees. Last time Luke was the designee for the county executive, today it's Michael.
Yeah, right.
He is the actual person from OMB, he's a member of the committee, he could also send a designee, I think you've sent a designee at least once. So those types of specifics, Annette needs to put in when she's here during the meeting.
Okay, and so then, let me make sure I understand. So this is resolution, the date is 12/1/24, and then this resolution says 24-01. This isn't the first resolution, or I'm just trying to follow the resolutions, because this is separate than the legislators' resolutions. This is for the
This
state.
is the resolution for the stage committee.
Right, so this is the first and only resolution for
For this
24?
one.
For this,
They do a different name.
So
numbering
we'll-
I'm
convention.
trying to figure out.
Yeah, it took me a second on that.
12 on the second piece,
Down here?
Yeah.
Okay.
just like the top one.
Just want to make sure, I just
Yeah.
think that,
Yeah.
because somewhere along
It's
the
the
line,
same
we track, something happens and we can't figure out what the heck's going on, and to try to catch these things as we go along, but okay, cool. Thank you.
All right, any other questions or comments? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve the resolution.
A motion.
Sue,
Second.
first, Bill, second. All those in favor?
So,
Any opposed? Let the record reflect that the resolution is carried unanimously. And that concludes the business portion of the meeting. Does anybody have any other issues or anybody online? I don't believe there are any, but any other questions or comments?
Can you elaborate a little bit more, but it doesn't have to be during the meeting if other people want to leave. I'm just curious what happened with the lease.
I'd rather do that after we close down the meeting, Bill, if you don't mind.
But I do have comments to make their project better, if in fact it ever happens.
Okay. All right, with that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Sue Rizzo first, second, Bill, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, would you end the streaming? Yeah.